What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Darion. Before we get into the video, I just want to remind everybody, if you're under level 15 and you want $10 worth of free stuff, go to your settings, go to use promo code, and type in XMG Gift. You do that, you'll get $10 worth of free stuff. It helps support the channel. So if you're under level 15, make sure you're using that promo code XMG Gift. Enjoy the video. Okay, my YouTube family, we are back into this, and we are at number 60. And number 60 is the guy behind me, Yogi. And Yogi is much like Aurelia. I really want him to be good, and he's not. I mean, he's kind of a niche fit for raid teams, right? But he's got some glaring weaknesses, but his move kit reads pretty well. His passive ability increases potency by 30. If Darion is on the team, he gets the 30% potency increase. Okay, that I see what they're trying to do there, but it just doesn't work out. But giving even Yogi 30% extra potency is pretty good. Sands of Time decreases the cooldown of random abilities of the target ally by 2 turns and restores 50% of their turn meter. I love that ability. I think it is awesome. His A2, 220 magic damage, 110 to all enemies, blinds the main target for 2 turns. So that's where the potency comes important. Blind's a very strong mechanic. Like if you're fighting a Tromgar, you know, and he blinds and he's got his counterattack up, he just misses all the time. So that is cool. And then, you know, basic, if the enemy is poisoned, there's a 30% chance to stun them for 1 turn. That, again, we're seeing the Darion, the Trickster synergy, but it needs to be a higher chance than 30 to really make that combo be more effective. And Yogi's got problems. The first glaring one, he's 128 speed at gear 11. That is really bad. His health and shield combination is 43k. That is doable. Magic damage, 2800 to almost 2900 to start. Great. Potency's at 22, but he's going to give himself 30% off the passive there, so keep that in mind. But it just doesn't work the way you want it to work, and his low speed really brings this guy down. You want to stack as much speed on him as possible, because he's not a damage dealer, he's a support character. You're not looking for him to do damage, you're looking for him to put on the debuffs. But the synergy with the worst character in the game, in my mind, doesn't really make Darion better, and it doesn't make Yogi better, so it's a lost synergy. And he's just one of the coolest aesthetics in the game, but I wish he was better. But number 60 is Yogi. Number 59, Venomie. Venomate is an interesting character, and he's another one. If I was rating it on potential, his potential could be big, but it's just not there. He's based off of poison, so again, we're seeing like that poison damage dealer. Deals 20% of magic damage for each poison stack on the enemy. And the synergy with Kyra is one of the better ones in the game, and I absolutely love that. He applies a crit damage increased haste, crit chance increase for 2 turns, and then gives 75% of the turn meter. That's awesome. So he can be your turn meter manipulator in certain instances. He has his Poison Cloud where he deals, you know, AoE damage and then poisons. And then here, he has an 80% chance to poison the target. That needs to be 100 for him to be more effective. And if Kyra is on the battlefield, 50% chance she's called into assist. I'm fine with that caveat, 50%. Essentially every other turn she's going to assist. I'm fine with that. But there's things in his move kit which just make this not work like it should. Number 1 is potency's at 15. Again, with these poisoners, it seems like the poisoners have low potency for the most part. If somebody's dependent on it, give him 22, 24, something. It just doesn't work that way. Critical chances at 18%, and you want him to do some damage, and he can do okay damage. His, you know, armors are okay. His magic damage, the low 2800s is doable for a starter character. But then look, it's health and shield combination, 35k. Struggle to keep alive. Right? And then speed, 129. Ugh. He's just one of those characters that you read his kit and you're like, alright, I can do something with this guy. And then you see his stats and you're like, son of a bee. That does not work the way I want it to. 58 Corkrum. And like the Yogi Corcoran Venomate, to me, you could put him any way, I guess, and be okay with it, but Corcoran is more usable than the other two because of Soleus, because you're building your orcs up early. You don't mind investing in him because he can do some pretty decent things. You know, he can be a solid AoE damage dealer for you, especially in the earlier games. So for me, he falls into that category a little bit higher than those two. His passive ability increases potency by 30% and 5% for each additional living orc in the party. So we're looking, you put him on a full orc team, that's another 25, 55% more potency. That's exceptional. What I don't like about his move kit is the Spectral Beast move. He needs to be stunned and burned, and he offers both in his move kit, but the problem is getting it to work right. It never works right. And then you look at this guy's stats, he has a health and shield combination of 30k, physical armor 21%, magic armor 20%, and then he has potency of 34. He's giving himself 55, and he's starting with 34. Let's, like, start Venomate at 34, start him at 20. The stat ratio breakdown of Corcoran doesn't make a lot of sense to me. 57, Keggy, and Keggy's come up the list for me. Keggy, I still don't know if they're boy or girl, number one. And I don't care either way, I just don't know if it's a he or a she. Keggy's not as bad as I initially had thought. Let's put it that way, right? Keggy is a starter character, but Keggy can do some things more than the other ones, kind of with some plug-and-play viability. I love the passive ability, magic damage by 30%, so it opens up more runing options. But what I really like is the synergy with Boris. Boris is an absolute stud in my opinion. I really like the wind speed where he gains haste and applies it to 4 allies for 2 turns. I wish it was the whole party, so that brings the rating down for me a little bit. But giving some people speed is awesome. The other thing that sucks about this is that it's a 5-turn cooldown. 160 on a basic, okay, whatever. But I like the 50% chance to repeat that attack. I wish, like, if both hits landed, he gained a regeneration to help pair with Renara. That would be kind of cool. He can, or she, or whatever it is, can do some things, but looking at the stats, 149 speed isn't bad. It's not very good either, but as a starter kind of lower tier champion, 149, at least you can do some things with that. But the health and shield combination, just over 30%. Physical armor at 25%. Magic damage is over 3k, so that's a plus, but crit rate is at 19%. Potency of 63. Why does Keggy have 63 potency? Number 56 for me is Darion, and Darion is another character who wasn't as bad as I initially had thought. But there's still plenty of other defenders I would take over him. He has to be put a little higher because he's got a leadership ability, and that is very beneficial in this game. At least you can make a comp out of it. I mean, it's really nothing to write home about when we take a look at it here. Both physical armor, magic armor of all allies increased by 30%. Allied members of the order have a 50% chance of removing 1 debuff at the end of their turn. So when you're an earlier player and you're getting into battlegrounds, he can be a good lead for you if you're missing one, because you know that you're going to be lacking some dispellers. This move is just horrendous in my opinion. 3 enemies, 25% chance to apply an armor increase to an ally, or sorry, 50% to 3 allies. Armor survivability, but he's already giving out armor. I hate that move. There's so many cooler things he could do to benefit. Maybe he spread, you know, if you use this move, it dispels from the primary target. That would be really beneficial because we're already seeing some dispel in his kit. His speed is at 106. He's a defender again, so you can get him up to that 130 threshold off secondaries, or if you just wanted to give up a little bit survivability, you could put it in that. You could put that speed in that northeastern rune and never have to worry about another speed secondary again. But what I like about him is his survivability. His health and shield combination is 54k. So you can really make him tanky, and he can be a pain in the butt to get around. You can taunt with him on his first ability. So there are things you can do with him, and he can be a decent meat shield for a team. And to me, that holds a lot of value with his leadership. 55 is sharp, and some people might be surprised to see sharp where he is, but sharp can offer things to your team in multiple varieties. He could be used in an early game arena because he offers that crit chance increase. You're not going to have the best runes in the world. He's definitely usable in the raid. He's usable to help you clear out the campaigns because of what he provides. And I'm going to kind of go over that now so you can kind of see where my head is at. On his passive, he's giving himself 30% crit chance, which is awesome. He does have a physical arm or damage to start at just under 29k, so you can make him your primary damage dealer pretty early on. This is the move I love though. Gains a crit chance increase to all allies. So you can put him with any team you want to get that crit chance up to increase your damage. And then you have the wombo combo. 150 physical damage is on the low side, but it's 3 enemies. Really helps you out. I like that. You know, you can finish off the tank, or if it's a cheat death, if you're fighting, you know, like the little baddie Freezards of the world, he comes in and he can kill them with that wombo combo. You know, but he is extremely slow. 119 speed. Health and shield combination is just under 38k at gear 11, so that is a problem. You know, but it's not as bad as what we're seeing on like a Corkrum. His magic armor, though, is only 22%, so he's going to get shredded by a magic damage dealer. Number 54 is Senjeel, and people might be shocked with Senjeel. I wasn't a big fan of Senjeel. He had a little rework, which kind of made him a lot more useful for me, and he fits into that row, or that elf crit comp extremely well. He increases his magic damage by 10% for each stack of regeneration. Extremely powerful, and then he kicks that at the end of the turn. Senjeel applies regeneration for 3 turns if Failure is an ally, so again, just upping his magic damage, but he's not there to really be a magic damage dealer. You know, he's applying that regeneration. He could pair well if you're looking to, you know, keep your team alive with a Renara, for sure. What I really like about this character is this one. 50% chance to inflict blindness for 1 turn on a basic. Blind is extremely powerful, and I really like that debuff. And what he can do, and what benefits that so much, is he has a 50% potency to start. So you put a potency secondary set on him, and you don't really got to worry about it. I really like that his potency is that high for the move you want it to do. He fits into either of the elf teams. He can be a plug-and-play healer, you know, if you want to beef up Renara like I was talking about. Even if you just spam that blind to increase your survivability is absolutely huge. Putting him in that nuking elf team, you need him to really kind of make it go. I think he has just a little bit more potential than some of the other characters I've stated, but it's how you feel. I mean, speed of 134 is crappy as could be. Health and shield combination, 36k. His physical armor's at 28, but his magic armor's at 35. So Senjeel at 54, I think it's pretty much right where he should be, because he does offer a little plug-and-play viability. 53 is Mega Wheel. In Mega Wheel, he got a rework, and that bumped him up a little bit. He's still not the best defender in the game, but he's not the worst anymore by far, and he came up my list for me. The big problem I had before his rework is that he played like an attacker, and if you got taunt, great. But what I like about him now is you have that passive ability where he gains the Torture. The Torture is way more, it's a better mechanic, is what I should say, than the Pain was. What I like is they added Xanterra's healing, so they're building that synergy for that second demon team. That is a powerful thing. 30% chance to gain an additional stack. Each stack of Torture increases his armor and his tenacity by 5%, and that helps his survivability because the multipliers on that are really good. His physical armor and magic armor at gear 11 are at 41% and 40%. Great multipliers. Tenacity's at 32, which is kind of middle of the road, but it's not a bad multiplier to have for each stack. So that is a plus, right? I like how that reworked. And then I liked deals 220 physical damage to all enemies, and then deals an extra 25% physical damage for each stack of torture. We're not removing the pain, and that was the problem before, is he has 0 potency, and we were trying to put on this pain. It was awful. Him keeping the tortures, keeping his survivability, and dealing more damage from that, he has 2,800 physical damage. Very good for a tank. I like the way this plays out, and he's become more of a pain in the butt, and I want to do the Pride or the Demon teams. He still is a pain in the ass to gear. There's no way around that. But, and even here, on his basic, plays into the torture. He's dealing extra damage on his basic with more torture. His speed's at 120, so you don't need much to get him to where you want him to be. But his health and shield combination at gear 11 is 65, almost 66k. He's way easier to rune, and he's just a better character overall. Number 52 is Selena, and this is a character I ranked horribly. And Selena lost so much value when Soleus became free to play, essentially. When Soleus' event was there the whole time, Selena became almost, why farm her? Now, with the division of Battlegrounds, if they go that route, she'll be more relevant. But she has some problems in her move kit which drive me crazy. And it's this one here. The Raider of Secrets copies 2 random buffs from an enemy at the end of the turn and applies them to 2 random allies of the same duration. To really make her viable, like, I haven't started building her yet, but I don't know if I'm even going to level this move, because she always seems to steal taunt. For that to be super effective, they need to remove that from her move kit where it can steal taunt. You know, right, if you get it to level 6, excluding taunt, the mechanics are there, but it always seems to steal taunt. And they tell me it's the same chance all the time, but it's just like the dodge rate. It always seems to go the way you don't want it to. She is healing all allies by 400% of her magic damage. Her magic damage to start is over 3k. You can work with that, right? And then she applies 2 random opposite buffs of the same duration if allies are inflicted by debuffs. So that's awesome. You got slow, she's going to give you increased speed. That part's super, super cool. Here, she heals the target by 280 of Selena's magic damage and an extra 20% of her maximum health. Her health is lower, but her health and shield combination to start is 46k. That's... Oh, I'm sorry. 44k. But still, that's extremely doable. Almost 45k. I'll take it. People don't use her because, 1, they get Soleus right away. 2, there's no reason to use her until they split those factions. She was put into the game for the people who didn't have Soleus, and I understand that. Selena should have been a panda. If this was a panda, so much better. So much better. So there's things to do with her. Speed is at 140 to start. You can do some things there. I mean, it's not the best in the world, not the worst in the world, but it's usable. And besides this Raider of Secrets, her move kit isn't that bad. I mean, it's a basic. It's kind of crap, but... And then the last one for this video is Old Lore. Old Lore went up in my tier list because he's becoming a little bit more viable with the 2 teams splitting. But there's still some big problems with Old Lore. I really like deals 50% more crit damage on an additional 20% for each living elf in the party, whatever. But he's giving himself crit damage. There's really no way besides that Southern Rune to get your crit damage up besides a artifact, right? If Dr.Frank is an ally, he restores shield, equal to 30% of the damage dealt on a critical hit. Love that. Love that. Like, they put in a synergy that makes sense, right? Then he gains a crit chance increase, potency increase, and accuracy increase for 2 turns and recovers 50% of his turn meter. It's still a waste of a turn, but his move kit demands all 3 of those things. So I don't think it's as bad as I thought it once was. And then his left hook, he can actually do some damage, 260 physical damage. A dazed target will receive 340. So again, more synergy with Dr. Frank. And then he's putting on slow. for 2 turns if they're dazed. Love it, because dazed are going to be all over the place. Speed 119. Health and shield combination is at 42k, not bad. Physical damage almost 2900. Magic armor's only at 25. And his potency's at 29, which isn't too bad. Crit chance is very, very good at 26.5%. So his speed is low. You know, but that survivability with the shield and Dr. Frank really, really helps out. And you're looking for the team you're going to put him on to kind of lap. And I just made that video on him. Outside of the Goblin faction, you're not going to play him, much like all of the Goblins besides Dr. Frank. So there it is, my YouTube family. There is 60 through 51 of the worst to first for all the champions. So if you're just finding me for the first time and you're liking what you're seeing, click that subscribe button, turn on notifications, all the good stuff that goes along with it. And for all my XMG family members out there, you know I love you. I'll see you in the next one. I'm out.